Here is a quiet truth in trading that most people only learn after they've already lost money. It is this: trading is not designed to make most people rich. It is designed to transfer money from the impatient to the disciplined. And that is why 95% of traders never make money. Not because they are stupid. Not because they don't have access to information. Not because they didn't find the right strategy. But because they misunderstand what trading actually is at its core. Most people enter trading with the same mindset they use for everyday life: work hard, try more, get better results. But trading does not reward effort the way most jobs do. It rewards precision, patience, and emotional control. And that is where the problem begins. The dream that starts it all. Almost every trader starts the same way. They see a story, someone turning a small account into a huge one, a screenshot of profits, a video of easy money from home, a lifestyle that looks free, fast, and powerful. And something clicks in the mind: if I learn this skill, I can escape my current life. And that belief is powerful. It creates motivation, it creates urgency, it creates action, but it also creates something dangerous. It creates unrealistic expectations, because what they don't see are the losses behind those profits. The years of study, the emotional breakdowns, the blown accounts, the discipline built over time. They only see the result, not the process. And so they enter the market chasing an illusion. The first phase: hope. In the beginning, every trader has hope. They believe, I just need one good strategy. I just need to learn technical analysis. I just need a mentor or signal group. I just need to be consistent. And for a moment, everything feels possible. The charts look simple. Support and resistance looks like magic. Indicators seem like secret codes. Every move feels like it can be predicted if you just study a little more. But this phase is dangerous because it hides reality. The market is not difficult because it is complex. It is difficult because it is unpredictable in the short term and emotional in its effect on the trader. And hope alone cannot survive that reality. The first losses change everything. At some point, reality shows up. A trade goes against you. Then another, and suddenly, the confidence that felt so strong begins to shake. Now the trader starts doing something different. They don't follow the plan anymore. They start reacting instead of executing. They move stop losses. They enter too early. They exit too late. They revenge trade. And without realizing it, they shift from trader to gambler. Not because they wanted to, but because they were emotionally unprepared for loss. This is the first major turning point where most traders begin their downward spiral. The real problem begins here. At this stage, most people think the problem is strategy. So they start searching again: new indicators, new systems, new YouTube videos, new signals, new mentors. But they are solving the wrong problem. Because the real problem is not in the chart. It is in the mind of the person reading the chart. The market is not against them. The market is simply neutral. It rewards discipline and punishes emotional behavior. And most traders are not prepared for that truth. Why most people never recover. After losses, there are two types of traders. The first type quits. They decide trading is a scam or not for them. The second type continues, but incorrectly. They try to recover losses quickly. They increase risk. They force trades. They break rules. And ironically, the desire to recover money becomes the reason they lose even more. Because now emotion is in control. Not logic, not strategy, not discipline, emotion. And emotion is the most expensive trader in the market. A hidden truth most never hear. Here is something most beginners never understand. The market does not care about your effort, your hopes, or your situation. It only responds to execution and risk behavior. You can be broke or wealthy, experienced or new, confident or afraid. It does not matter. If your behavior is poor, your results will reflect it. That is why trading is often described as a mirror. It reflects who you are under pressure. And for most people, that reflection is uncomfortable. So before we even talk about strategies or success, we need to accept something important. Most traders are not failing because they lack information. They are failing because they are emotionally unprepared for the reality of uncertainty, loss, and discipline. And until that is understood, nothing else will change. The market is not the problem. One of the hardest truths in trading is this: the market does not create your losses. Your decisions do. The market only provides movement, up or down, fast or slow, random or structured, but what you do with that movement is entirely on you. And that is where the real battle begins. Because most traders assume the problem is external. The strategy didn't work, the signal was wrong, the market was manipulated, the broker hunted stop loss. But professionals think differently. They ask, did I follow my rules? That difference alone separates the 5% from the 95%. Trap number 1. Overtrading. One of the biggest silent killers in trading is overtrading. It usually starts harmlessly. You take one trade, it loses. Then you feel you need to make it back. So you take another, then suddenly, you are no longer trading a plan. You are trading emotions. Overtrading is not just about frequency. It is about emotional dependency on action. Many traders cannot sit still. They feel like if they are not entering trades, they are missing out. But professionals understand something very different. No trade is also a position. Sometimes the best decision is doing nothing. But for most beginners, doing nothing feels like losing opportunity. So they force opportunity, and forced opportunity always becomes loss. Trap number 2. Revenge trading. This is where trading becomes personal. You lose a trade, and instead of accepting it, you feel something shift inside: frustration, anger, urgency, ego. Now the goal is no longer execution. The goal is recovery, and recovery without clarity leads to destruction. Revenge trading is what happens when a trader starts trying to punish the market. But the market does not respond to emotion. It only responds to risk. So what feels like getting back in control is actually losing control completely. Most blown accounts do not happen from one bad trade. They happen from one bad emotional sequence. Trap number 3. Strategy addiction. This is one of the most misunderstood problems. Most traders believe, if I find the right strategy, I will succeed. So they jump from system to system. They collect indicators like tools in a toolbox they never use properly. But here is the truth. There is no strategy that can save poor discipline. A good strategy in bad hands becomes a losing strategy. A simple strategy in disciplined hands becomes profitable. The problem is not the system. It is the operator. But strategy addiction keeps people distracted. Because learning new systems feels productive, even when results are not improving. So they stay busy instead of becoming consistent. Trap number 4. Emotional attachment to trades. At some point, traders stop seeing trades as probabilities. They start seeing them as personal predictions. So when a trade goes wrong, it feels like they are wrong. Not the setup, not the market condition, but them. And that creates ego involvement. Once ego enters trading, clarity leaves. Because now every decision is about proving something, not following rules. And the moment you are trying to prove yourself in the market, you stop observing the market objectively. Trap number 5. Lack of risk respect. This is the quietest killer. Most traders focus on profit. Professionals focus on survival. A beginner risks too much on a single trade. Because they are thinking, if this works, I can double my account. But a professional is thinking, if this fails, I still want to be here tomorrow. That difference changes everything. Because trading is not about how much you can win. It is about how long you can stay in the game. And most traders don't fail because they lose. They fail because they lose too much at once. The emotional cycle that repeats most losing traders are stuck in a loop: hope, entry, loss, confusion, revenge, bigger loss, doubt, strategy change, hope again, and the cycle repeats. Not because they are not trying, but because they never break the emotional pattern underneath their actions. Until that pattern breaks, results cannot change. At this point, most traders think the solution is still external. More knowledge, more indicators, more analysis. But the truth is simple. The problem is not what you know. It is what you can consistently do under pressure. And that leads us into the final part. Because once you understand why most traders fail, the next question becomes, what do the successful 5% do differently? If you've followed the message so far, you should already see the pattern. Most traders don't fail because they lack access. They fail because they lack consistency under pressure. So what about the 5% who succeed? They are not magical. They are not special. They are not smarter in the way most people assume. They simply operate differently, and that difference is what we need to understand. 1. They think in probabilities, not predictions. Most traders want to be right. Successful traders want to be balanced. A losing trader asks, will this trade win? A winning trader asks, does this setup give me an edge over many trades? That shift is everything, because the moment you stop trying to be right on every trade, you stop emotionally attaching to outcomes. You stop panicking. You stop forcing trades. You stop reacting. Instead, you execute a system over time and allow probability to work. They understand a simple truth. One trade means nothing. A series of trades means everything. 2. They protect capital like it is life support. Most beginners think profit is the goal. Professionals know survival is the goal. Because no capital equals no trading. So they focus heavily on risk, small position sizes, strict stop losses, controlled exposure, no emotional doubling down. They are not trying to hit home runs. They are trying to stay in the game long enough for their edge to play out. And this is why they survive when others blow accounts. Not because they win more trades, but because they lose smaller when they are wrong. 3. They have emotional discipline, not just strategy. This is where everything separates. A good strategy is easy to find. Emotional discipline is not. The 5% train themselves to wait for setups, accept losses without reaction, follow rules even after frustration, stop trading when conditions are bad. They are not controlled by impulses. They are controlled by structure. And structure is stronger than emotion. Most traders underestimate how powerful emotions become when money is on the line. Fear and greed are not weak feelings. They are powerful forces. And the difference between success and failure is who is in control when those forces appear. 4. They are comfortable doing nothing. This is one of the most misunderstood traits of professional traders. Beginners feel, if I'm not trading, I'm missing out. Professionals feel, if there is no setup, there is no trade. They are not addicted to action. They are addicted to clarity. They can sit for hours, even days, without entering a trade if conditions are not right. Because they understand, opportunity is not constant. Discipline is constant, and that patience alone saves them from thousands of unnecessary losses. 5. They master risk to reward, not just win rate. Most beginners obsess over how often they win. Professionals care about how much they win when they are right versus how much they lose when they are wrong. A trader can lose 50% of trades and still be profitable. If wins are large, losses are small, execution is consistent. This is why thinking in isolation is dangerous. One win means nothing. One loss means nothing. The system over time is what matters. 6. They treat trading like a business, not a gamble. The 5% do not hope for profits. They manage a process, entry rules, exit rules, risk limits, journaling, review. They don't ask, did I make money today? They ask, did I execute correctly today? That shift removes emotional chaos. Because now the focus is process, not outcome. And ironically, good process produces good outcomes over time. The final truth most people miss. After everything, the conclusion is simple. Trading does not reward intelligence. It rewards behavior. Not how much you know, not how fast you learn, but how consistently you can execute under uncertainty. That is the real filter. And most people never pass it. Because they are trying to master the market, when the real work is mastering themselves. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. You are not competing against the market. You are competing against your own impulses. And until you learn to control those impulses, no strategy will save you. But once you do, you stop being part of the 95%. And you start thinking like the 5%. That is what Think Trade is about. Not hype, not signals, not shortcuts, but thinking differently, trading differently, and becoming disciplined enough to let probability work in your favor.